Well, welcome back, everybody. In this episode of Tech Whispers, we are going to unpack innovation. I'm talking about innovating with products and services, innovating with digital, innovating with new engagement models and a strategy process, and also innovating that achieves high employee engagement, which is so critical today. Today, I'm excited to shine the light on Anupam Khare, the SVP and CIO of Oshkosh Corporation, a Fortune 500 company that delivered $8.3 billion in revenues in 2022 and closed the year with an impressive $14 billion of backlog. Oshkosh has 15 incredible brands serving critical customers in many different verticals, which we'll get into here. So Anu, welcome to Tech Whispers. So good to have you here. Your title says CIO, but what impresses me most about you is that as one of only a dozen executive officers of the company, that's really how you show up today. So let's talk about that, and particularly how you think about your role at the company.
First of all, thanks, Dan. Thanks for a nice introduction. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, I think that's a great question here. The way I see is any organization has three key assets: people, data, and assets. And when I say assets, is manufacturing assets in our context. So people, data, and asset. And I see my role is to help businesses to maximize the potential of our people, maximize the potential of our assets and data to create value for the shareholder. So that's the one dimension I see the role. The second dimension I see is I think there's a in these days, there are two lands. There is a value land and technology land. And I think I act as a bridge between value land and technology land, helping our technology team member to transcend the boundary of technology and live in the value land. And the same way, I help our businesses to go and have a better appreciation of possibilities of technology. So it's kind of a bridging role between two major important stakeholders.
I'm almost picturing a game board, Anu, like a new game we could play in corporate, right? Merging those two lanes together, very, very powerful. And could you unpack your company strategy? It's three powerful words: innovate, serve, advance. And as you do that, maybe just kind of share a little bit about the special customers that you serve.
Yeah, so we are, as you introduced in the beginning, we are an industrial technology company. And when we say industrial technology company, what it means is we apply technology to design, to manufacture, and serve our customers, right? And our customers are those who basically helps us in our community every day. An example like of our product portfolio, we have 15 brands, but most significant brands I will mention like Pierce fire trucks, right? We serve firefighters who serve us when we are coming out of the burning buildings, right? We have a refuse collection vehicles, that is a product line. So we serve our environmental service workers who collect our trash every day. This is one of the most difficult jobs in the United States. We produce defense tactical wheels for vehicles for our defense customers. And we also manufacture machines and equipment for construction industry through our JLG product line. And recently, we have been awarded a contract for USPS postal vehicles. And so you will see our vehicles, whether it's a fire truck, whether it's a refuse vehicles or postal vehicles around the communities in the US. So that's the power, about the company. And I think when we talk about innovate, serve, advance strategy, innovation, we have a history of innovation in our products, but we have a broader view of innovation. And it is about delivering innovative products, but also embedding innovation in how we conduct our business. Right now, we are running 5 major themes under innovation. Electrification, we are electrifying and creating a new product line of electrified vehicles in every of our business units. Autonomy and active safety, and safety for our drivers who drive our vehicles, and autonomy, embedding autonomy. And we have a long history of working with the Department of Defense to understand this space pretty well. And the third one is intelligent products, that how do we make our products more intelligent? So these are the 3 innovation themes we are running under our product category. But how do we embed innovation, how we conduct business? So there are 2 areas we focus on at a corporation level. One is the advanced analytics, and the second is digital manufacturing. How do we embed our digital into our manufacturing? So those are the 5 major themes under innovations. Innovate. And serving is about, we have millions of vehicles in the field, and our job, and they have a typical life span of 10 to 12 years, and sometimes even 20 years. So we have an obligation to provide services and parts to our customers who have been using our vehicles and our machines for that period of time. So that's the underserved. Advance is about growth strategy, and there are 3 components under advance. Number 1, geographical advancement. We are expanding in China, right? The second component of advancement is a new line of business. So like through US Postal Services contract, we are entering into a completely new product line, which is a last mile delivery, right? And the third component of our advanced strategy is mergers and acquisitions, which is inorganic growth. In the last 2.5 years, we have acquired 3 companies. One is Maxi Metal in Canada. That was the market expansion opportunity for our fire truck business. Then we acquired Pratt & Miller here in the US. It is a design and engineering firm, very specialized in advanced robotics and autonomy space. And then we recently acquired a company, Hinova, in Europe to expand our JLG product line. So those are the ways we are innovating, we are serving our customers, and advancing our business.
That's powerful. I really appreciate how you built innovation into the DNA of just the inner workings, and kind of going down deeper into your strategy process. Anu, I appreciate how you do that with your team. It's not a bunch of long PowerPoints, is it?
Yeah, it's not about long PowerPoints, and it is a very, very refreshing for me, for leadership team, and the way we do our strategy building process. I'll describe at 2 levels, right? One level which happens at our CEO's leadership team, and our CEO encourages white space thinking, right? Means you come with the unconstrained ideas and possibilities. So we do in our strategy building process, where we write white papers. And so, for example, I wrote a white paper. One example I'll give you is about how technology can be embedded, inserted to add value in different parts of the organization. So like, for example, supply chain, human resources, engineering, manufacturing, and what are the current opportunity and how technology can help. The second piece we did was last year was about how advanced analytics and AI can help multiple parts of the business. The beauty of this process is white paper writing, I felt like, is a very good intellectual exercise. And because it helps you to think through holistically and more creatively. But more important is the dialogue process that happens in the strategy team meeting. Some ideas get rejected, some gets accepted, but it creates a lot of buy-in. So that is the level 1. And I have taken it to with my leadership team, we have taken it to the next level. So now within IT, which we call DT, digital technology function, we engage our vice presidents and directors, which is the next level. And we create a cross-business teams around themes which we get from the CEO leadership team level, right? So an example was our team wrote a white paper on digital customer experience. They wrote on intelligent supply chain. They wrote on digital engineering. And what happens, these white papers are 7 or 8 pages long, but the more important part is the process of building. In order to write that proper, number one, they have to collaborate. There has to be a collision of ideas within IT team. But more importantly, they have to go and talk to the people, what their real problems are for writing those white papers. So it's a very good engagement exercise, and a lot of good ideas come out, and that leads to defining the strategic programs that we need to pursue. So it's kind of bringing ideas together, connecting with our customers, and aligning with this strategy. And I think the process has served us pretty well.
Well, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, you've proven out that this is a different but special way of approaching this, opening up the way we think, and people have got to come with a point of view, right? That's well researched, and that's fantastic. You mentioned about analytics. You mentioned about AI. You know, I like to bring mystery questioners on the show, and I've got a unique one. For the first time ever, I went out and asked, I'm not going to mention which one, but one of the AI tools, I asked it to a very specific question. I said, what differentiates Anu from other technology leaders? Very interesting. And it came back with 4 themes. So let's see how close it got. I think it got pretty close. It talked about your business acumen, your customer focus, your innovation, and your collaborative approach. So what do you think? Did our AI friend get it right?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I never thought about that. You'll be asking ChatGPT that question, but I'll tell you, it is quite accurate in terms of how to describe me here in the context of the business. But what I will say, it misses a human side of me, and I think I'll dwell on, and that's the pros and cons of generative AI. Human side of it, I have lived in 2 continents, 3 countries, and 5 cities, and I have worked with people of 25 different nationalities, right? And what it has done is it has made me very, very adaptable. I can work anywhere with anybody. That's number one. And number 2, I have learned the art, and I'm still learning, discovering gift in others. Because I fundamentally believe everybody is gifted, and how to discover gift in people and how you can leverage that gift to advance their personal journey as well as the what you call organization mission, right? So coming back to the point, AI was accurate in most of the aspects, but missed the aspect. And that opens up the point that this generative AI is as good as the data available, right? And this data is not available, they cannot answer. But it also tells the point is when there's output generated, there will always be a need for human validation or intervention.
Yeah. I am going to definitely double click on the human side aspects because that is a big part of your story. And I'll get to that here in a minute. But I mentioned proofs in the pudding. I think that's an expression that our profession needs to take to heart, as well as talk is cheap. And so with that as a caveat, in his latest letter to shareholders, your president and CEO, John Pfeiffer, talked about predictive analytics and Industry 4.0 technology. This is your CEO of your company. And when it was recently announced that Oshkosh received the CIO 100 award for the 5th consecutive year, congratulations, we're going to talk about that in a minute. John said in the announcement, we are steadfast in our pursuit of innovation and digital technology is at the heart of the advancements moving the world forward. Wow.
Yeah, and it's amazing how he thinks about what technology can do for business and society. I think that statement, as you're mentioning, is a reflective of how he believes in that aspect.
I always like to go to the annual reports and listen to what the C-suite is talking about technology, or if they're not, that also tells me something. So interesting. You know, kind of talking about the journey, your philosophy around change. You know, this is exciting what he has to say. It's impressive. So how did we get there? Like, how did Oshkosh get here? So talk about the journey on two dimensions. One is many leaders in our industry do not appreciate that words matter. Language matters. Our brand matters. You mentioned earlier about the shift from IT to DT, digital technology. So kind of unpack that for us, Anu. What went into that strategy of rebranding?
Yeah, so I will connect it to the previous statement I made about people are gifted. We have to discover gift in people, right? So when I came in on board, we had a great team here in IT. They were doing phenomenal job, but our focus was being a good support provider, right? And so what we did in this journey is we first raised the ambition, right? And ambition, we said we created a 3-step process there. We are an excellent service provider. We need to be remaining there. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is being a digital partner. And stage 3 is being a digital thought leaders. And quickly, service provider, I think everybody understands, digital partner means where we will co-create solutions with our business partners at every level, from shop floor to top floor. That's the partnership. We will come with ideas together. We will experiment together. We will deliver together and transition them. And digital thought leadership is an area where we talk about is how we become so sensitive about our businesses that we understand their problems and which is unarticulated, and we come up with a proactive solution, right? So that's the ambition we said, and I'll tell you proudly, we are somewhere between stage 2 to 3, and because 3 stage requires a lot more maturity, but we are somewhere between 2 and 3. So when we set this ambition, we focused on we have to change first ourselves in IT. And that's the part number 1. The second is our brand was established around this guy is a good support provider, right? And you had IT. And my personal experiences in life has been the brand matters. Credibility matters. Because most of the transaction in the world happens at the subconscious level. People just don't know that they are being influenced by their subconscious to make a buying decision or interacting with anybody, right? And so our idea was that how do we work at the subconscious level? And it is about raising our capability and ambition. And that means we start building the trust by providing solution to the people, and that trust goes into the subconscious mind. And also what we promise we deliver, and that also goes into the mind. So this IT to DT brand perception, we did not change for first 18 to 24 months in our organization in Oshkosh. And we had extensive discussion within the IT leadership team. Should we change? And are we at a point where what we are saying, a new brand, or can we sustain that brand, and are we living up to that brand? And we had that discussion at the business leadership team level as well. So this brand change was a very, I'll say, intentional exercise when everybody felt, right, yes, we are transitioning from stage 1 to stage 2, this is the time to change. And I think, as I said before, it matters. It accelerated our partnership. It gave confidence to my team. So it has so many benefits.
So much to learn here, so much to take from this, providing that clarity for the team, because the flip side of that is confused minds don't act, right? So you got through that by giving people that roadmap, and it became aspirational and ambition. And I appreciate that, Anu, so much. We had a question from a virtual friend. Let's hear from a question from a real friend. And as you listen, tell us who this is, and then I think you'll appreciate the question. So listen in.
Hi, Anu. What was your strategy when you first started at Oshkosh for running DT as a business? And what was your strategy for having monthly team meetings?
Thank you. Greg Carstensen is a phenomenal leader in my team, and I'm glad that he asked this question. He joined us in 2019, and he's our VP of infrastructure for the entire Oshkosh Corporation. Has done phenomenal job in modernizing our tech stack, including cloud capabilities. And I'll proudly say that our technology is stack from infrastructure standpoint is most modern that industry can claim. So
that's bold. Yeah, good job, Greg.
Yeah. And we may be using different products than other companies, but the technology stack is very modern. So coming back to the question, let me answer the second part, the first, and then the first part. The second part was the monthly day-long meeting. So when I came in here, we were having meeting every 2 weeks, and it was 2-hour meeting. And this meeting was with all DT leaders. So I have DT leaders, 5 DT leaders in shared services, and 4 in our business unit. So we all used to come together every 2 weeks, and it was touch-based kind of thing. And what I noticed is because of the time allocated and the way it was structured was a more tactical conversation, what is happening in the last 2 weeks. But as I said, like we raised the ambition, then we have to have a supporting building blocks for raising that ambition and enabling them. So we said, why not run DT similar to a normal business board? So a publicly limited company, a private company's board, what they do, whenever they meet 3 or 4 times a year, they focus on strategic topics, right? And they have committee structures. They have like audit committee, governance committee, and HR committee. So we took inspiration from them and modified ourselves that let's meet 12 times a year and once a month and have a full day, and let's structure our topics very strategic. So think like this, what we discuss on people side, we discuss the employee feedback survey. We discuss the succession planning. We discuss the upskilling of our workforce, that kind of things, a strategic topic on major program reviews of major programs, right, where we are making huge investment. We focused on cyber. So those strategic, either risk or value-oriented topic or people-oriented topic. And the way we did is we structured an agenda, and a responsible leader comes up and presents the current state, future state plan, and we all debate. The evolution which has happened is it has helped our leaders to be more strategic in how we articulate the issues. And I'll tell you very proudly today, if I look at maturity of our meetings versus 5 years ago, now our leaders are able to articulate in 2 or 3 slides the core fundamental issues and facts around it, right? And the majority, if you have 1 hour session, is 20-minute presentation, 40-minute discussion, and the discussion in a way that will lead to a decision point. So the quality of our collective thinking, quality of articulation has improved, and that leads to efficient decision making. So that's the spirit of having monthly meeting. Initially, the whole team was very skeptical what we will do in a whole day meeting, but it has been working well. The first part of your question was, I think Greg's question was around thinking around as a business. So it basically ties to my fundamental philosophy that pre-market principles, right? Let value, cost, and customer decide. So customer, cost, and value decide what is valuable, what you should do, and what you should not do. Right? So that's the foundational principle. And I wanted to set up DT as a business that where we have the similar type of thinking. So each of my service owners, and I use this analogy inside the company, think like this. Each of my service owners are restaurant owners, right? They know their customers, they know customer traffic patterns, they know the menu, and they know the cost and ingredients. So they are very invested in their business, right? And once they are invested in the business at the grassroots level, they have the ability to pivot depending on the situation. Like if the customer flow is less, they can change their menu item. So the whole creativity starts. So that's the DT as a business. That was a cultural dimension, right? But when you look at the DT as a business on the project side or new solution side, it has to be, and there has to be a collision between customer needs, cost, and value. And that debate is so powerful because waste comes out of the system. But final piece of our DT as a business was full transparency of cost and value. And the idea there was, we talk about all the time, we have to build trust, we have to earn trust, and we have to retain trust every. Trust is a overused word, but it is a real lubricant in organization, right? And it smooths out so many transactions. So when cost is there, value is there, nothing is hidden. And our customers are free to choose what they want. But I'll tell you what, when the transparency became visible, our demand increased.
Wow.
Our investment in technology across Oshkosh, and I'm not talking about purely my budget, our investment in technology across Oshkosh has significantly increased because people are connecting cost and value.
Well, transparency drives truth-telling, which drives trust, and you've proven that out. And I think people are starting to really appreciate the unique way of operating that you've brought to Oshkosh and the results you're generating. I really appreciate your Anu-isms, those great expressions that you use. I've got a few of them that I've collected that I'd love to have you unpack. I think I'll help people get into the mind, the psyche, the language of Anupam Khare. So one of my favorites is, this will be no surprises after hearing you so far, I'm emotionally attached to value, but emotionally detached to technology. Did I get that one right?
Yeah. I probably have spoken somewhere about it.
Talk about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think the historical experience I had is many of us in the industry are so invested in technology because our upbringing has been in technology, and unconsciously, subconsciously, we get attached to technologies. That product A is better than product B, technology A is better than technology D. So this code is more about the A, order of importance. So order of importance is the value is more important than technology. That's the one. And the second one, this was a thing for me. Where do I invest more time and energy? Right? I want to invest more time and energy on the value side of the equation. I want to be more emotionally attached and spend more time on the value, while I have a team which does a pretty good job on the technology. And more emotionally disconnected I am in about the technology, I will be able to listen perspective of my team and their comparison analysis, and I will be able to give a very objective answer. So that's the philosophy behind that quote.
Yeah, no, it's powerful. I think going hand in hand with that is do less to do more. I think we all get that intuitively, but how do you pull that off, right? Because you've got to have some new conversations to make that transition in the company.
Yeah, so this is counterintuitive to human nature. Like when I came in DT, means people want to do more work because they're driven by work, and they believe that their work is adding value, and which is true. Now the question is, when you start a concept of doing less to do more, that means there is an emotional withdrawal situation that am I going to do less? So I think the point here was, is the quantity of activity important or the quantity of outcome is important, right? And so what we did is we created called portfolio enablement process, where all of my direct reports, VP of ITs, we meet depending on this situation, either weekly for 1 hour or bi-weekly, where we every investment or every project proposal is reviewed on the cost and value dimension. And so we review in that 1 hour, but behind the scene, there's a lot of activity happens. Discussion with the sponsor, like if this project is to be done, if this project has to be done, and are you committing resources? A lot of things happen behind the scene. And so in those portfolio enablement process, our eyes are always on the value, the cost, timeline, sponsorship, availability. What it has done as a natural process. I didn't say that we have to do less. Natural process is high value projects filter up in the hierarchy, and we also emphasize along with that in enablement is agility, right? We have to deliver at the speed of the business. So you combine those things, a number of projects have reduced, and our lead time for delivery. So on an average, last measurement we saw, on an average, we were taking roughly 400 days to finish projects. Take the exceptional project like ERPs out, which takes longer, but most of the projects roughly 300 to 400 days average. And now we deliver digital solution in 180 days. So that's our average right now, some higher, some lower. And also the number of projects have reduced, is now roughly we do 55 to 60 projects. But the fact is, business loves it. Means you know that your investments are being invested in the right projects, and there is a commitment behind it. So it was a longer answer for a smaller code.
I appreciate it. No, my good friend Didi Ramanita, who's the CIO for First Citizens Bank, the bank that just acquired Silicon Valley Bank, which is interesting. But she always says, I get paid to deliver projects, not to start projects. And like you, laser focus on the stuff that matters. And, you mentioned metrics, words matter, what we measure matters. What's the scorecard that you focus on, Anu?
Yeah, so on the scorecard and metrics, the philosophy we adopted here was, let's copy what business does, right? I mean, that's the simple philosophy. Don't use your brain, just copy what business does. And what it means is, at the highest level, our businesses focus on two things, right? Operating income impact, which is margin, right? And the second is the revenue. But there are lots of metrics, but at the top level, these are the two needle moving metrics. And we said, at the highest level in Oshkosh DT will measure these two things, right? That how technology is impacting the operating income and how technology is impacting the revenue. So that's the highest level. So when you have the same vocabulary and when you have the same underlying process to manage, so like who does the calculation and validation of this amount is right in OI and this amount is right in revenue? Who does? The CFO of a business. Like when we are saying technology is creating this value, we are not saying, business sponsor is saying, but it has to be validated by our CFO of respective organization. So it's kind of copying the process, copying the metrics. Then you go at the next level down, like our supply chain, for example, measures how they're doing effectively is in on-time delivery. They measure on parts per million from a quality standpoint, right? They measure logistics cost. We measure those things, that how technology helping those things. So I think the thing which we did is just align our metrics. Don't create metrics which you spend a lot of time in translation, right? And we don't spend time on translation there. This is what we mean, and this is what you mean, right? And the notion which I have been very used to in my previous roles, that IT creates soft savings, right? I just took it out, right? Soft savings are considerations, strategic consideration. When we do something, they are input in the whole thought process, but we don't measure it. We just don't measure it, and we don't talk to our CFOs. Okay, technology has created $3 million of soft investment. No, we don't, because business doesn't measure soft investment, right? Soft saving. So we don't measure.
Well, I mean, we're running a restaurant here, right? We're invested. It's makes total sense. Makes total sense. I know we have another mystery questioner, somebody who knows you well, has incredible respect for you. So let's have some fun with her question. So let's listen in.
Anu, 2022 was some year for you. In addition to winning the Chicago CIO ORBIE Award, you won CIO 100 4 times in a row and have accepted numerous awards on behalf of Oshkosh Corporation, like Computer World's Top 10 Places to Work in IT. Tell us, how have you seen recognition, and specifically winning the ORBIE, impact your career? And what would you advise your peers today on recognition opportunities for themselves, their teams, and their organizations?
Is she Krista?
That is Krista Ogilvy, yes, from Inspire CIO. Yes, love her. Love her to death.
Yeah, she's a master networker.
Indeed.
Yeah, does a good job. Yeah, I think that's a good question. So let me talk about my appreciation for the award process and the reason for participation, and then what it means to us, right? If I look at every award processes which exist and where we have been participant, they have a very stringent application process. And then there are great judges who have experience of industry, and they see many companies who are involved in the process. So I have a very high level appreciation for the award process and judges. And I think you are one of the judges for some award, I'm sure. So I respect that. But the second thing is why we participate, right? We participate in these awards because it helps us to tell our story, but it also helps to validate whether we are on the right track or not, right? And so that's the validation part of it, that if you are winning, right, then you are on the right track. You need to work hard. But if you're not winning, then also you need to do more, right? So that's the inspiration and motivation. But what it means to the organization is definitely, we were talking about, first, it energizes the team, right? Whole DT team energizes a lot. And when industry recognizes them, it is a recognition of their work. So that's the one part of it. And I see motivation that do more experiments, create more value, and it manifests in that part. And in a subtle way, it also impacts the credibility of DT organization with the businesses, right? With our board, with the external audience, our vendors. And all these subtle ways of credibility building helps us in advancing the cause which we are pursuing. So that's how I see it. It's very energizing to be part of this process, and it is energizing all of us.
One of your peers, Kim McEnroth, who's the global CIO for Textron, also an ORBIE winner, she calls it humble swagger, right? It brings that confidence, the joy to the team, and all that great work you're doing. So, and you're right. I had the honor of being a judge in this year's 100 Best Places to Work in IT, which you won once again. And I think it really points to what you said earlier, your passion for the human side of the equation, because that's voted on by your people, right? So to be in that, and when I read your application, I was blown away. I knew you were a winner right then and there. I didn't have the control of that. I just had a vote, but I knew that you would be receiving that award. So maybe highlight some of those initiatives that put you in a position to be a repeat winner in this prestigious award.
Yeah, first of all, I think I will give credit to Oshkosh as a company, right? It means as a company, is a very humble culture, is a people first in its truest sense possible. It means people first is used many times in the industry, and I have been in the industry for a very long time, and comparing it is a people first in truest sense. And our benefit program and how our leadership views the role of digital technology. That's the highest level. The second level is people want to see how you are invested in their success, right? And so when I said is raising the ambition of the organization, means raising the ambition is a testament to recognition that people are capable to reach to that point, right? And that shows the confidence. But that confidence has to go with actions which people can see, right? And the action number one, if I highlight measure, we invested heavily on upskilling and reskilling programs, right? Initially, it was very difficult, but it has become a habit. It's just like my wife tells me to go gym 4 times, and every time I feel bad about it, come out, become very happy. The same thing is a training. You have to find time, you have to help employees get, and I'll tell you, we have now roughly over 6,000 courses taken by our team. So that's investment in the people. Okay, that's one. The second aspect is the experiential learning, right? Which is more important than or equally important than that. So we try to give opportunities to either expanded opportunity or vertical opportunity or different opportunities. Ideally, I would like to give it to everybody, but we have been very successful to roughly 1/3 of IT population, giving them experiential opportunity. That energizes, right? Mm. Third thing we do is when we say we want to innovate, we have to be willing to do experimentation, succeed, fail kind of thing. And we do 14, 15 major experiments, POCs, some fail, some do. So people see that they are getting hands on the technology. So these are the 3 major pillars. But below that, I will say is kudos to my team leaders like Greg and others. They are engaged in frequent conversations, right? They understand the pulse of the organization. And it's not perfect, but they're all constantly in dialogue with the people. I have all hands meeting. I do interactive questions. We do monthly, our HR does monthly survey, and which is AI driven, which we get, I don't know, thousands of comments and we read them. These are all the ways, basically, having dialogue with our employees, investing in their success, helping them to advance themselves. Those are the way, and combined with overall Oshkosh benefit and culture, all those things together. There's not one single thing which does the magic. It's a combination of things.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I would really shine the light on, there's an intentional focus. You don't just do this by accident. You've highlighted some of the big rocks. There were a number of other things that were just equally impressive. Those everyday things that I think really drive, because your employee engagement is off the charts, and you continue to raise the needle there. So the other award, the CI 100 fifth year, I had the honor at the awards event this year to lead what's called a leadership masterclass. So basically, it's a 6-hour program, and I get to pick anybody I want to be my faculty. So in front of everybody right now, inviting you, Anu, at the Terranea Resort in August to be part of my faculty in this masterclass. So we'll talk offline, but congratulations. 5 years in a row is just staggering. And I know you're very proud of your team, because those are the real deal.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the real deal, we do something really cool here on the podcast that you're aware of, which is our Tech for Good, right? We have this 9-month leadership development program called TechLX, and we're committing $150,000 of this year of scholarships to that program, with the idea of gifting those to nonprofits. And so, as our guest, love to give you the ability to gift a seat in that program to one of the many nonprofits that you're involved in. So, does somebody come to mind, top of mind?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for doing that. I think the Tech for Good means as a IT community, we can help in spreading the skill set in the broader community. Yeah, one comes to mind is Boys and Girls Club of Oshkosh. And they do phenomenal job in our Oshkosh community. So I would like to nominate them for this.
Such a great organization. They do great work, and really invest in the community. And they're restaurant owners and helping kids, aren't they? I mean, they really own it.
Absolutely, they are committed to the mission, and they do a phenomenal job here.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that, and all you do for our industry, and even today. I mean, I am as we wind down here, I'm inspired. I've learned. I've taken pages of notes here. I know our audience is going to really appreciate learning from you, Anu. And the good news is, we're not done. We're going to spend a little bit more time here off camera, and we're going to record some questions for a blog on CIO.com that'll be out next week. So look for that. And we're going to unpack a really great part of your secret sauce, your formula. You call it the VSP formula, I believe. It's value, strategic fit, and passionate sponsor. So we're going to talk about that. I want to get into your data strategy. I just heard you talk about that with Peter High's team on Technovation. Just unbelievable. But Anu, thanks so much for making time to come and share today.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thanks for inviting me. It has been my pleasure here.
All right, everybody. We will see you again next time, and be on the lookout for a news article next week. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Tech Whisperers, inside the playbook of the best digital leaders, a Woolette and Associates podcast. Keep connected with us by subscribing to the show in your favorite podcast player. If you like what you've heard, please rate the show, as this helps us connect the world's best digital leaders with those who aspire to learn, grow, and thrive in this amazing profession. Thanks for listening. Until next time.